Coming up today on Real Life.
Here I was now still a single mom because I wasn't married to this guy. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. My boyfriend told me that he didn't want the baby and we needed to go with our other option, which was abortion.
And there was just something profoundly that hit me that was like the wind was blowing and I immediately had this epiphany.
I would encourage anyone who's thinking about terminating a life to see if they could seek out and talk to someone who's been there before.
He didn't want to have no more kids, whatever. And at first I was like a little mad because I was gonna kill my baby.
I was shocked by what I saw because I saw this 13-week-old baby in the womb fighting to get away from the from the abortion probe, the cannula. And I saw it trying to flee from these abortion instruments.
We are so glad you could join us today for Real Life. On Real Life, we cover true stories of women and men. The stories you see today will all start with an unintended pregnancy and the choices that follow. Some of the stories that you hear today contain great joy, others a world of regret. The common thread, though, on each of the stories is that at some point, each person came to faith in Christ, and He gave them a brand new start for their life. Up first today on Real Life, you'll meet Victoria, and she will recount her unplanned pregnancy some 30 years ago.
Back in 1986, I was a single mom with 2 little girls, and their father had literally just abandoned us. When he left, I realized, oh my gosh, I've got these 2 little girls to take care of, and how am I going to financially do it? I was working 12 to 14 hours a day just to make ends meet. So I met this guy and we got pretty serious right away. All the promises were made about being together forever, and about 9 months into the relationship, I was pregnant. Already struggling as a single mom, and here I was now still a single mom because I wasn't married to this guy. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. My boyfriend told me that he didn't want the baby and we needed to go with our other option, which was abortion. The guy that was supposed to support me and be there for me and take care of me was now telling me he wanted me to end the life of our child. And I was quite frankly embarrassed that I had allowed myself to get in this position. I just felt really pressured. I felt completely trapped. Just a second. I'm like in that room. I mean, 30 years and I'm like in that room again. And then I heard the machine. And I just kept looking at the ceiling thinking, get out. Just get out. Run. And within minutes, it was over. It was done, and I knew my life had changed. I knew I wasn't the same. And I drove home just begging for forgiveness. I weep for that girl, for that young woman who thought that was her only choice, that that was her only option.
Many women facing unplanned pregnancies say that they are under a lot of pressure to have an abortion. If you're feeling that kind of pressure right now, please reach out to our helpline. They are open 24/7. If you've already had an abortion and you find yourself feeling sad or perhaps even depressed each year around the date of that abortion, please reach out to our helpline. You can do that on our website or also by calling the number on your screen. Up next, you'll meet a group of men who say that they all bear the silent scars of abortion.
My story is best started, I think, by saying that I'm the father of 5, but I only got to raise 3 of them.
I was a foreign exchange student my senior year in Germany and fell in love with the country and also fell in love with a young lady. And through that relationship, there was a time that she came to me and told me that she was pregnant.
I was actually in shock and awe to find out that she was pregnant. I didn't believe it at first.
I found out that my high school girlfriend was pregnant with my child when I was 16 years old.
Too young, and there were other things that we wanted to do, and probably didn't weigh the decision too heavily and said, well, I think there's a thing we can do to take care of it.
The first 2 didn't do anything wrong, that I didn't want to raise them. They didn't have a chance because they were both aborted.
I was strongly encouraging her not to keep the baby.
So I remember the whir of the motor and seeing these tubes that were being filled with red and white and the sound of suction. And
I knew the girl was pregnant, but I didn't know what to do.
I was adamant about it, to the point to where, I was going to offer to pay for it.
And with the help of a friend, she went and had an abortion.
The moment that I found out that she had an abortion, I was devastated.
The weight of guilt was just so overwhelming for me. And I was just terrified.
it all stopped. The room was silent, and they said, we're done. It was a success.
It was later in the evenings, as I would go to bed, I began to cry. And even though it's been decades since the first 2 were lost, obviously there's still an emotional place that comes up.
The depression that I went through for such a long time over it really, really set in. It didn't just mess me up, it messed her up as well. Mentally, emotionally, we both started drinking heavily, which we didn't do much of at all. We both started using drugs, which we never did at all.
I continued in a lifestyle of medicating with alcohol, marijuana, and I just continued to just sort of push that pain that I had felt initially away.
It was too easy. It was too quick. I wish that someone had been out in front of that Planned Parenthood, willing to just offer information and alternatives. I wish that there had been opportunities to know about other choices.
And there was just something profoundly that hit me that was like the wind was blowing, and I immediately had this epiphany.
I would encourage anyone who's thinking about terminating a life to see if they could seek out and talk to someone who's been there before.
So I called her on the phone and I told her, I said, look, you need to keep this baby.
Who's been able to say, this is what it means to me 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road.
And I said, I'll be there with you, every step of the way.
I would just encourage them to go and get with someone safe. Meet with another guy, meet with some others that would be able to let him share that story and do it in a way that they would be compassionate, understanding, and not in any way shaming or guilting him more, but to let that burden out.
It wasn't all wine and roses after the fact, but my son's 8 years old, and he completely changed my life. And I'm so glad that I didn't choose free will and make that mistake.
The men we heard from today all responded to their partner's unplanned pregnancy in different ways. Some supported their partner and child. Others encouraged abortion, even insisted on abortion. If watching these stories stirred up some kind of unresolved emotion in you, we can all hold on to this absolute truth. When we come to faith in Christ and ask forgiveness of our sins, Jesus Christ forgives us and gives us a brand new start. Up next, you'll meet a young woman who shares her experience just outside of an abortion clinic.
Walk into the clinic and with my baby father, and they did me a pregnancy test there to make sure I was pregnant, and the lady had told me that I was 15 weeks, and I told my baby father, and he said that he didn't want to have no more kids, whatever. And at first I was like a little mad because I was gonna kill my baby. They just was telling me like, oh, it's not gonna hurt. It's just a fast procedure. They was just telling me that it was not like too much, like it's not painful or nothing, like, you know, they just wanted me to just do it. Then I went over there with my sister, because this is the second time that I went to the clinic to do the procedure. But then I'm walking into the clinic, going towards the clinic, and my sister's telling me, hey, come on. And Joel had stopped me and told me if I was pregnant, and I said yes. And he had told me that do I know how it is? And he showed me a tape and was showing me how they do it. And I was a little bit scared for doing it because it's my first time, and really I don't really believe in abortions. Then I went home and I just didn't go back. I was supposed to go back the next day, and I didn't go back at all because I was frustrated, painful, foreseeing what I was gonna do, but I didn't do it. And I give Joel thankful. I'm mad thankful for Joel not, making me do that and convincing me to not do it. I think if I would have never seen the sonogram and my baby moving, I would have done it, but I didn't. And I thanks that boss for not letting me do it. He's have called me and was asking me how's the baby doing and how I am doing and how's everything going. And I have just told him things is going good now that I'm keeping this baby. I give thanks that I didn't do it. Now my baby's moving and I'm happy that I didn't do it. My baby's gonna be born on February 17th, and it's a boy, and I'm gonna name him John Sear, and I hope he comes out healthy. I like the J's.
The stories we bring you today are all true. We bring you these stories so that you can see that abortion is not the only option. But if you already made a decision and you have aborted and you came to a place of regret about that, you can call our helpline. The number is on the screen. All of us here at Real Life appreciate the women and the men who share their stories with us. If you have a story about an unplanned pregnancy or abortion that you'd like to share, just go to our website and let us know. Up next, you'll meet a woman named Abby, and she says she was completely naive about the profession that she dedicated her life to.
I was so naive about the place that I dedicated my life to. I worked like 60, 70 hours a week there, and I knew nothing about them. I knew only what they had told me. I would have never thought I myself would have had 2 abortions. I would have never thought I would have worked at a Planned Parenthood. But that was my life. When I was a student at A&M, I happened to be walking through the student center one day, and there was a volunteer fair going on, and it was all these nonprofits lined up, and they were looking for volunteers. And the very, very first thing that caught my eye about the Planned Parenthood booth was that it was dripping in hot pink. And that's my favorite color. And so it was just immediately caught my attention, and I walked over to the booth, and the lady started talking to me, and that's why she was there. And she started asking me what I knew about Planned Parenthood, and I honestly knew nothing about Planned Parenthood because I didn't grow up around an abortion clinic. I didn't grow up around a Planned Parenthood, and abortion wasn't something that we sat around and talked about, around the dinner table. And so she started telling me that, Planned Parenthood's goal was to make abortion rare and to prevent the need for abortion. And, without legal abortion, women would be dying on the streets from these back alley abortions. And I thought, that sounded terrible. And I tell people I guess I had sucker written across my forehead, and because I didn't know either side of the argument very well, I was very easily swayed into their side. Planned Parenthood's mission on paper is not Planned Parenthood's mission in reality. I wanted to believe that, and I did believe it for many years. It wasn't until I started moving up the ladder of Planned Parenthood and their management that I realized that it was not congruent. It was not the same. I realized that, Planned Parenthood's motive, the primary motive was financial. To provide abortions was very lucrative for them. I was asked to assist in an ultrasound-guided abortion procedure, which is a very rare procedure in a Planned Parenthood clinic, an abortion clinic in general. Planned Parenthood ultrasound-guided abortions is not a standard protocol type of procedure, but we had a visiting physician in that day, and that's the type of procedure he wanted to perform, kind of as a learning experience, using it as a teaching tool. And so my job during the abortion was going to be to hold the ultrasound probe on the woman's abdomen. I was shocked by what I saw because I saw this 13-week-old baby in the womb fighting to get away from the from the abortion probe, the cannula. And I saw it trying to flee from these abortion instruments and trying to move to the other side of its mother's uterus. And that was shocking to me because I had believed for 8 years that, Planned Parenthood's statement was that the fetus had no sensory development until 28 weeks. And I had believed that. I needed to believe that. And so I believed that to be true. I had told thousands of women that statement over and over again when they had asked me, will my baby feel this? I felt this sense of grief because I knew I had lied to so many women, women that had come to me, looked to me for honesty and truth, and I had given them a lie in return. Women are dying from abortion. Women are being hurt physically and emotionally from abortion right now. And besides that, every time an abortion is performed, a child is dying. So it's not a safe procedure as it is right now. So how can we say we need to keep it safe and legal when it's not safe? I see a lot of hope, and people may not see, what I see. They may not see people, coming out of the movement like I do, but they really are coming out. Clinic workers are leaving this movement because they're seeing abortion for what it really is. And we shouldn't, people say, oh my gosh, Abby, you're such a miracle that you've left. Oh, this is so unexpected. And I tell them, I tell people all the time, we should not be surprised when things like me happen. We should expect things like this to happen, our God is in the business of miracles, right? And so we should expect for people to be turning away from the sin of abortion and to be turning toward Christ. I mean, that's what we should be expecting.
Sat cold in a waiting room, frightened and all alone. Watched the clock tick down, knowing that her baby would soon be gone. Her head slung low, so embarrassed. She was 13 years old. She felt a kick inside as a reminder of a life she couldn't show. Then she heard a voice inside saying, "Run away. It was a mistake, but don't throw your child away." Then she fell into a light sleep, had a dream about a little girl. There was a birthday cake and 3 candles. She was living in another world. She saw the little girl become a woman, living in a happy home. Then she was suddenly awakened by a voice that called her name. They said, "Don't worry, you'll be fine. You're still young, we see this all the time." Right then the Lord began to speak. "You're not taking this one, she's mine. She'll grow up and seek my name. You're not taking her, she's mine. And you're not taking her this time. No, you're not taking her this time." She laid flat on the table. She asked, "Please, can I talk to someone?" But a headstrong woman with a blank stare said, "We've got to get this done." Then she cried out loud, "Please help me. I've got to get to a phone. I need to call my mama to help me find my baby a home." They said, "Don't worry, you'll be fine. You're still young, we see this all the time." Right then the Lord began to speak. "You're not taking this one, she's mine. She'll grow up to sing my name. You're not taking her this time. I decided before time began. Her name is written in the book. They didn't have the power to take her life. They're not taking her, she's mine. You're not taking her this time. No, you're not taking her this time." This time. No, you're not taking her this time.
Hi, I'm Sami Elefante. The story you just watched is based on how I was rescued from being aborted.
And we are eternally grateful that Sammy's birth mother chose life.
Every day in America, 3,500 children lose their lives to abortion. That is one child every 25 seconds.
You can save babies from abortion. For more information, please visit onlineforlife.org.
Each of the stories we brought you today took a different turn with each choice. If you're going through an unplanned pregnancy right now, you have many options. Sometimes it's just good to talk with a safe person where you can have a confidential conversation and explore your options and also get the help you need. We've got our helpline number up for you to call or to visit the website, and we encourage you to do that. There are people that care about the choices you're facing. That's all for this week. We'll see you again next week on Real Life.
If you would like to share your abortion-related story, please contact us through our website, www.reallifetv.life, or through our Facebook page at Real Life CTN. If you need help in dealing with either an unplanned pregnancy or regret from a past abortion, please contact the H3 helpline at 866-721-7881. Thanks for watching. See you next week.